What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl, the Glow Coach, and I'm back with another episode. And this episode is bringing my good sis, Dallas Gordon, on. Honey, when I say coach, Dallas is just one of the most phenomenal women that I've been able to encounter in this lifetime. Her energy, her aura, her messages, who she portrays herself in business and in real life. She's just an amazing, amazing woman, and I could not do an episode without having her included. And this episode is going to touch on one of my favorite topics. It's called Unlocking the Power of Authenticity in Your Business. And I'm a big advocate of being authentic, of being your authentic self. And so is Coach Dallas. I feel like she's the perfect person to give her input, her advice, and her guidance on this subject. So I never do my guests enough justice when I introduce them. So I'm going to let Coach Dallas introduce herself and tell her a little bit about what she does and who she is.
You did a perfect job introducing me. I'm really excited to be here and honored that you are having me on. I'm so excited. So I am a business mentor, author, power seller, speaker, all of that good stuff. I've been in business for around 11 years now. I own a thriving subscription box company. It has a sister company, which is the e-commerce store, as well as an amazing heart-centered coaching business as well. And my mission with the coaching business is to help purpose-driven entrepreneurs not only to create profitable businesses, but also to run joyful and purposeful businesses as well with ease, because the joy is super important as well, not just the profit. So that's pretty much sums me up.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely think it's important. I love how you incorporate the two. I think sometimes we see in the coaching industry that, and I saw a post from you today that I thought was really, really powerful. We have time, we'll touch on it, but just always pushing the agenda that it's all about money,
Mm-hmm.
and even with me relaunching what I call the six figure accelerator, there
Mm-hmm.
aren't any like strict guarantees like, oh, I've heard people say in 3 months, six
Oh
months,
yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
make such. You can't guarantee that. I can create the structure, help you create the structure to produce something like that and help
Right.
you build a mindset. But more importantly, I think it's important to be real with people, and to not only just push the agenda that we're going to be making money in our business. That's a byproduct of doing something that's aligned for you and something that's fulfilling to your heart. So I just love the space that you've created,
Oh,
and
thank
the
you.
insights that you give and how you pour into those women. So I think it's awesome that we get a chance to talk about being authentic today. And my first question to you is, why do you believe being authentic in your business is one of the most powerful things you can do? I know for me personally, I struggled with it. I
Mm-hmm.
struggled with all these different aspects of who I am and who God created
Mm-hmm.
me to be, my spiritual side, my I want to go twerk side, my I want to pray side, like all those parts of me, and being afraid to show up and do all of it in business. But I know it's been a game changer for me. I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly
Mm-hmm.
reminding myself to be yourself. Stuff like yourself is enough. You don't have to be anything outside of that. But I do want you to just drop some gems for the listeners about why you think this is one of the most powerful things they can do.
Okay. Well, I can relate to everything that you just said, first of all. Like word by word for word, I can relate. So the reason why I believe that it's one of the most powerful things that you could do to be fully in your authentic self is from personal experience. Like I spent years in my business, I felt like I was wandering in the dark, just doing things that I thought people would want to hear, trying to make the perfect post that I thought people would want from me, trying to talk in buckets that I thought that people would want to hear from me, and just being who I thought people would buy from versus following my real soul pull, that calling, right? So when I first started out, I started out real motivational. I had an amazing group called Make the Shift, and I was every day encouraging them on live. I never felt burnt out. It was such a good feeling. And I just felt like I couldn't monetize the group. So I went from there and dropped that group. And I picked up, teaching e-commerce and a lot of money making strategies because a coach told me that that's all people want to hear from me. Like that was what I had to talk about in order to monetize. So um, over the years, I felt like I had to divide myself. So I had to take my motivational and spiritual side and put that in one bucket for later. And maybe I would let a little bit of that out because if that's who you are, I feel like it oozes from your pores. So when you try to keep it in, it comes out anyway. So it would still sort of come out, but it was still, I always felt like I was pulling myself back because this isn't how I can monetize. This isn't what people want from me. And it just drove me, after years of being that way, it just drove me into a real dark space of burnout, unhappiness, stress, frustration, overwhelm. The way I was running my business wasn't natural for me. I was also punishing myself for not being or not, what am I looking for? I wasn't measuring up to what the coaches out there said I should be and how I should be working and how I should be showing up. So I was really beating myself up inside. And I remember a prayer and me talking to God. I was like, God, I have all of these ideas that you're giving me, that you're depositing in me, but I don't have the energy to release them. I don't think that I'm equipped. I think you might need to find someone else. And I just sat with that feeling, but I really heard back from that. I know who you are. I created you. I put you in place. I'm depositing all these ideas in you because you're the one that's supposed to bring them into fruition just as you are. Like, you don't have to be anybody else. So I took like a year off from my coaching business. I was still very active online and stuff, but I wasn't coaching anyone. And I really went within and I was like, God, if I ever come back, I'm going to be freaking unapologetically me. I'm showing up, period. Not going to be anybody else. I'm not watering myself down. If you don't like me, you don't buy from me, you don't like what I have to say, I'm just going to take my time and patiently serve and trust God with the rest. And I'm going to tell you, it's been challenging because I've had to allow those parts of me to sort of die off. And every now and then she wants to show up. Like, that ego side wants to show up every now and then. However, this is the most freeing, the most fulfilling work I have ever done in the entire history of in my life, right? And no, it doesn't look like the work I did before. No, it doesn't sell as fast. It doesn't. It's a process. And I'm still a work in process. But I've had to realize that I get to be a mess. I get to be put together. I get to be educational. I get to be spiritual. I get to be a little ratchet. I get to be all of those things in one without apologizing for it. I get to be all sides of myself. And that gets to be enough, and that gets to be okay. So I feel like so once you realize that, to hurry up and answer the question, because I could just talk whole book, but once,
Talk, honey. Drop them gems. My eyes are getting watery and everything. I'm trying to
yes,
soak it up. Talk.
I'm like, once you realize who you are, honey, it sets you up for nothing but success, nothing but joy, nothing but peace. It also opens the doors of favor on your life as well, because honestly, you're being obedient. You're obedient. You're leaning in and answering the call on your life, right? And doing what you need to do. It also sets you apart. So for those of you out there that are struggling with this, well, and I get it, because you kind of have one toe in on, well, I should launch the way they tell me to. I should use persuasion tactics the way they tell me to. I should lie to people. Y'all saying the car closed when y'all know it's not really closed in some cases. Not that you can't close your cart. I'm just saying there are a lot of persuasion tactics that we are using that doesn't align with some of our values. And so we sort of have our toe in some of that stuff because we fully aren't leaning in and trusting spirit on how we are feeling led to run our business. But it's one of the most freeing, most beautiful experiences that you can ever do. And I'm going to tell you one other thing. It doesn't allow you to hide. You have to change along with your clients. So I can't show up and talk about ease and talk about launching in a heartfelt way or content marketing in a from a heart-centered space if I'm not doing it. But back when I just used to teach straight all the technical stuff, no spiritual stuff, back when I used to hide myself, I could get away with showing up and coaching people and not changing and not changing, So it's made me, come forward and be accountable and do the work. So, yeah.
Honey, honey, honey. I need sound effects. I need bombs dropping. I need something going on because that was just too good. Like, especially because, like I said, it made my eyes tear up because I just know that internal battle. of
Mm.
wanting to be yourself and that constant pull. It's like spirit is like dragging you out of this old way of being and
Mm-hmm.
just like constantly pushing like you can be this. It's safe to be this. It's okay. Nobody's gonna judge you. Half the world doesn't even care because they got
Mm-hmm.
their own stuff going on. You know, and I cannot put enough emphasis on the importance of just being yourself in business. Ain't
Mm-hmm.
nothing worse than taking years and years and years, like I did, 13 very long years of
Wow.
building a business based on the expectations of what other people think I should be.
Mm.
And the moment I let go of that, honey, the ideas came flowing in, the aligned offers came flowing in.
Mm-hmm.
And you made a good point about, and I talked about it too, about like this fear based selling. It's so aggravating and it's so annoying. If you're not going to close your cart or you really know you got space for five more people, just say that. It's okay. And then, too, like when you are being obedient, when you are being aligned, you line up with divine timing. The people that you're supposed to serve are coming to you in certain seasons. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to force you into my program because it may not really be your season to be there. And
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm losing money in my business. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad coach. It doesn't mean none of that. It just means that this person's season is at this time. And
Mm-hmm.
who am I to say, come on in now when you're not ready? I
Yeah.
mean, I heard another coach say, ain't nothing worse than getting a client that's truly not prepared for you. They're
Hello.
not going to do the work. They're going to be bouncing in and out. They're not going to really be focused, you know. So I want people that are aligned for that current season and
Mm-hmm.
that current offer so I know that I can be as effective as possible and they're showing up for themselves too. You
Right.
know, so
Mm-hmm.
it just I can go into this for days, so I'm not even going to keep the people up here for 2 hours. But
Yeah.
it's just so amazing just to be you, you know, and it's a learning process. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly
Oh
reminding
yeah.
myself. I'm constantly hearing those thoughts like, okay, Steph, you don't have to, like you said, that pull into who you used to be is constantly there.
Yep.
She gonna show her little head. She gonna be like, wait a minute, sis. I'm
Mm-hmm.
scared. I don't want to do it this way. People are gonna say something, but
Mm-hmm.
the more and more that you can just step into your truth, oh my goodness, it makes you a magnet to things that you cannot do without being yourself. So
Oh
that was
yeah.
so good. Um,
Thank you.
on the money topic, do you believe that there's a direct connection between being authentic and the money someone can make in their business? And I ask this because I know even not being authentic, I made a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's a difference when you make money doing things in a way that it feels good to you, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
for the things that I'm creating next and the way that I'm making money now with my boutique and everything, like it feels good when the money comes in. I'm not burnt out. I'm not stressed out. I may be like a little bit like still in that grind mode. Like, okay, what's the next
Mm-hmm.
step? What strategies can I implement? Going back to God, what do I need to shift? What do I need to change? But I'm so fulfilled, even on days when I don't make any money. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I feel so good in this space because this is my space. This is what I'm meant to do. So it's a different type of motivation that comes behind the money. It's not just about the money, it's really
Yeah.
about the people. So I don't know 100%, but I want to hear your thoughts on, do you really think it's a connection between being yourself and the money that you can make?
So you know how sometimes, you're having thoughts about something and like God will start to send you messages all over the place.
Yeah.
That's what's happened for me in this topic. So when I made this shift in my business, I had to literally like go and find new mentors and stuff that were really living this. So I could see it with my eyes. People who are really monetizing their passion, people who are really monetizing their calling, because I just didn't believe it exists. And there's a whole background I'm not going to share today because it's long of why I didn't have the belief that running a faith based or a purpose driven type of business could yield income. There's a whole childhood thing I have going on why that belief system was there. But there are a few things I've seen. One thing I want to compare it to is a diet, right? Or like, let's just say, like, I want to lose weight, right? So, since I've had three children, it's been like a up and down battle with getting back to me, feeling like I'm back to me and feeling like I'm back to my original weight. I will probably would never be back to my original weight, okay? But getting back to me, feeling like me again, it's been like a challenge. And like, so I've lost weight, loads of weight, um, starving myself, doing what do they call those diets? Those fad diets and whatever they call them, where you're trying to just eat in a very unrealistic way so that you can have a quick result. I've done lots of those. I've lost weight every time, like significant amounts of weight in a short amount of time, but I've always bounced like bounced back, like in a bad way. I've always gained every pound back and not been
Mm-hmm.
able to sustain it. So over the past like months, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go gun ho into a healthy lifestyle. So it's not going to be just let me get on this diet because I got to speak in June and I want to be skinny, like real skinny for I got a photo shoot. So let me just go on this diet. No, it's what can I do every single day to serve myself in the best possible way so that I could be at my optimum ultimate health? What can I do day by day to be the best possible me, right? That has shifted my entire relationship around food and around weight, where the weight's coming off in its own time. I realize that because I'm giving my body nutrients that my body loves, it knows what to do with them. So it knows exactly what weight it wants to get back to. And I just find myself releasing weight like nothing. And I really do believe that this is gradual, but it's lasting because I realize this is a lifestyle. So let's make the switch. Your business, your authenticity in relationship with your money. You have two lanes that you can choose to go into. And this is going to be a hard pill for some people to swallow, okay? You have the fast lane. The fast lane is where all the coaches are telling you, like you just talked about, Coach Stephanie, 6 figures in 6 minutes. If you do it this way, you persuade this way, you're going to get people to say yes to you. Got to close the card at this time. You got to turn to the right, left, go
Mm-hmm.
up, down. It might be stressful to launch, but you got to give up your life to launch. You got to give up your sweet team to stay up all night, do this. And will the customers come in fast? Probably. Okay. You'll get
Mm-hmm.
overnight results, maybe. The other way is when you take it day by day, your attitude changes. I'm going to run a business that aligns fully with my values. I'm going to show up and I'm going to serve every single day. My results may be gradual, but when I get them, they won't be fleeting. They will be long lasting. Now, I've been on the path of doing all that. I was the marketing genius. My God, back in the day, don't judge me. I used to call myself the e-com cash queen. Like, I literally get queasy when those videos come up back in the day. I was the e-com cash queen. Who says that? Who does that? That was who I was. And other people gave me that name and I really hate it. And I hate videos that come up from that time frame of my life. But I was like commanding people to buy from me. I was like the biggest seller. I could get on webinars and sell people into all kinds of high ticket programs. I was just so full of my masculine energy and so full of myself. And did I gain customers? Yes. But when I made the switch and I decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore and I decided to shift, I realized that I didn't really build a lot of relationships. Those people were gone. They didn't follow me into this. They didn't want to hear what I had to say. Now, I do have a good amount of people that are loyal customers that have been working with me from the beginning who are even in my new program. But for as long as I've been around, I should have way more of an audience. So what I want to say to you is you're going to make the money no matter what you do because the money is a byproduct of what you do. And when you show up in your zone of genius and you help people and you solve problems, the exchange, as long as you have products and services available for people to pay you, is going to be money. But it's two ways to make it. And you have to ask yourself, which way is going to allow me to sleep best at night? Which way aligns with me? Is it the slow way or the fast way? And I saw another video that came up the other day that said a lot of people quit. They quit early because it takes too long. They feel like for God to position them where they need to be. So they quit early. And what he said in his terms, I don't really talk about the devil a whole lot, but I want to share what he said. He said, when the devil blesses you, it's often fast. It's often right away. But when God blesses you, it may take some time because it's going to build some character in you. But when he blesses you, those blessings are everlasting. So do you want to also build your eternal bank account, along with some good old long lasting money that sets you up and sets you up for generational wealth. Because when God comes through and does it, it's next level. Or do you want to lie to people? Do you want to persuade people? Do you want to do it fast? It's all up to you, and I'm not judging you either way. But that's how I feel about that topic and money in relation to authenticity. I think you have to make a choice in what you want. Either way, you're going to get the money.
Right. Right. That
Yeah.
was good. That was real good.
I hope that
I'm
makes
sitting
sense.
here, man. Look, I'm sitting here watching the episode or something. I'm like, keep talking, girl. That is so true. That is so true. And I think even with when I look at taking time off from coaching just to kind of get my head on straight and things were off, my confidence was
Oh, yeah.
off. It was just
Mm-hmm.
so much going on. And the first episode that I'm releasing on the podcast is why I quit coaching. I want people to
Mm.
know why, and I want them to take my story and find a way to help them overcome anything that they may be facing about insecurity or imposter syndrome or just being misaligned. But I can look at how I'm building the boutique and know that I'm taking my time with it. And I'm still seeing levels of success. Like I track my revenue every single month. And I didn't even try. I set a goal to raise my revenue by 50% in the boutique. I didn't even try and it happened. Like that's just being real.
Wow.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
alignment and that's showing up and doing something that I love and not making about a dollar. Like when people come into the boutique because it is a healing space, people
Mm-hmm.
cry on my shoulder. People
Oh, wow.
cry just to cry. You know, they're overcoming so much, but we created that space. I pray so heavily over that space that when people enter the doors, they get a certain experience. They not only have the, spiritual tools and products that they need, but they feel love. They feel God in there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in alignment like that, it may have taken me a year to get to a point where it's like consistently like really doing the thing, but it's just such an ease and flow to becoming like more abundant and bringing in the money in such an aligned way. And I feel like when you are really being your authentic self, you have a grace and favor over your life to where when you get to a certain season, you don't have to try as hard as everybody else. I
Yeah.
don't burn out. I don't overwork. I actually open up instead of 5 days a week, I'll cut it back to 4 days a week and I'm making more money because
Right.
that's an alignment for me since I actually have to be the one in the boutique. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can do things your way, but like you said, you can't fast track and rush your way to success. There is something being developed in you. There are things and seasons that you're being prepared for so you can operate with a sense and a spirit of excellence. And if you're just rush, 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 let me get to the money, you're going to lose it. I'm living proof of that. I lost all my hundreds of thousands of, I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
nothing to show for nothing in 2020. I was
Mm-hmm.
dead broke. Lost it all because I didn't have the character built. I didn't have the responsibility built. It was a lot of things that I was struggling with. Man, I can go on and on and on. But the
Mm-hmm.
best thing that you can do for yourself is just allow your process to be your process. And don't compare yourself to what you see on the internet. Trust me, it's all glitz and glam till you get behind the scenes. That's why I like podcasts like this, and I like when people enter spaces like what Coach Dallas has set up. You get the real and you get the raw. You ain't getting no fugazi stuff where we're like, listen, in 2 minutes that made me crack up 6 figures in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing going on like that because it's not a reality. And if it does become a reality, it's not sustainable. And what we want is lasting wealth, lasting alignment, lasting fulfillment. We don't want
Mm-hmm.
something that's quick and going to be gone tomorrow. So that was really, really good.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about this chat GPT stuff. I've said it myself. I made my little video, okay? I don't think people liked it because everybody want to hear how to use chat GPT. And I was kind of going against the grain
Mm-hmm.
with my thought process. And I'm probably going to end up doing another episode just about chat GPT. But I don't want people to lose their authentic voices in particular when using chat GPT. I played around with it. You do some amazing videos. If you have not checked out Coach Dallas YouTube, honey, I'll be up there lurking and binge watching, okay? And I've been in this game 13 years, and she be teaching me something every video. So there's so much to be learned. But I even went in, I watched both of your chat GPT videos, and I started really playing around with it. I'm like, oh, this is really good. But my fear for people is that they're going to get too reliant on it and not know how to still incorporate themselves. Like I feel like our words hold vibration. and it's a way that I speak, a way that I talk to my clients, especially when it's coming from spirit, that it's undeniably effective. They're going to feel that thing in that email. They're going to feel it in my content. They're going to know it's that showed
Yeah.
up for them.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about ChatGPT? And do you think it will pull away from being authentic? And then can you also give some advice for the listeners on how they can still use it but still remain themselves, their most authentic selves in business?
Okay. So there are a lot of ways to use it. Okay, Coach Steph, me and you might have to do a little powwow. Okay, we might have to get online together and like kind of work together for a little while because it will blow you away. So I get it. First of all, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. And, you know, a lot of the clients I have now are really spiritual and connected, and their voice is their voice, and my voice is my voice. So I get it. Like, no, I have no copywriter. Like, nobody can write my copy, period. Like, nobody can do it because I'm going
Right.
to feel like you're taking from my voice, my energy, right? So, a few ways that might change someone's perspective about chat gpt is it's no different really from googling something. Honestly, it's no different from hiring an assistant. So if you have an assistant in your business and you ask your assistant to take your YouTube video that you did and write a blog post about it, uh, they would go do that. And they would try to take your voice and they would go do that. And then you take it and you proofread it. You should proofread it to make sure that the words are in your own voice. If not, you would do a little editing. So that's the way I view Chat GPT, is that, first of all, no matter whether we like it or not, our world, it's just something else now. The platform, all the platforms, the social media platforms, the entire and I'm looking for the right words here, but the entire energy around coaching and doing business has changed. People have much shorter attention spans. It's much more saturated. It's much harder for your content to be seen. It's just a different climate now in general in the world. You know, the entertainment, you know, videos coming up, people shaking. That's just what, you know, that's all we look at all day, you know, like, and a lot of just regular people have to do so much entertaining just to keep attention. It's just a really backwards dynamic that we have going on in the world in general. And the way that this system has been made available to us, it's the future. And it's helping people to work at the speed of light. So I feel like you can choose. It's almost like how some of our parents don't know how to Google like we do. And because they don't, they're at a loss right now. They're just kind of like, oh, what do I do? I need to place this order on DoorDash. How do I press enter? You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is, in my mind, you don't want to be that way with technology. You don't want to be like not being able to use things because it's here, right? So that's one thing. But another thing, I look at it like my assistant. I look at it as a way to automate my business. I ask it for ideas. You know, like I came up with a product name. I came up with like YouTube video ideas. It would have taken me 30 minutes to an hour to research that on my own. It's still research. It's still not my data. When I go and do research, it's data that's out there that I'm gathering. So it's just going and getting it for me. And then I'm reading through it to see which one resonates with me the best. And if it writes in a way that isn't aligned, I will say, here's my voice. Here's how I write. Can you rewrite this to sound more like me, to use my words? Another thing I do, Coach Stephanie, is that you probably saw this in a YouTube video, but you can just like copy the transcripts from your YouTube video. It's your video. It's your content. Just paste it in there and say, hey, can you give me a blog post from this? My dog's barking, guys. I'm sorry. Can you give me a blog post from this? It's your content. So some people are, Coach Stephanie, I agree with you. It's going to cause some people to be like really robotic sounding, and it's going to cause them to lose their authenticity. It's because they're going to type things in there and then it's going to give them responses and they're not going to read. They're just going to copy and paste it and use it. But I don't even do that with my team. If you're writing a piece of content for me, I'm reading it word for word to make sure it's what I really want to say. And I'm doing the same thing with Chat GPT. But it helps me to make spreadsheets in seconds. So if I say, hey, can you take this data and put it into a spreadsheet? Sure. And it's done. So, okay. So I had a work session with Chat GPT last night. I've named my robot a few times. I don't know what the latest name is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we did a work session last night. I had an outline for an upcoming training I'm doing. It created a planner for me. It created worksheets for me. It also created a list of 100 ideas and explanations of each one and put it into a spreadsheet. So basically, what I'm saying, guys, is it's literally helped me to automate my entire process without me having to spend 2 weeks to do that work. Because honestly, the way my energy is set up, to create a spreadsheet of 100 ideas, explain what they're about, to create a whole entire planner with worksheets to go into the planner, to create an outline for my training and my entire sales page, it probably would have taken me a month. It took me an hour last night because what I kept doing was typing back to it. No, that doesn't sound like me. Can you change the second paragraph? No, I don't really like how you worded that. That's a little too robotic. Can you make it in my voice? So it's like you talk back and forth with it to maneuver it to work with you as you would an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically spitting out information that we already have access to.
Right.
So when we do research on a blog post, because we don't know everything about that topic, or we're doing research on what we should talk about on a YouTube video, Google is going to give you other people's content that's out there. That's how they're giving you information. They're pulling it from the internet. It's the same thing that Chat GPT is doing, just at the speed of light. It's just fast, you know? So it's just, I think it's all on how you perceive it, and it's also all on how you use it. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the people that don't write in their authentic voice and they just verbatim take it, like, people just probably won't respond to that stuff. I'm sorry.
Right.
They're not going to respond to that stuff. They're going to know that ChatGPT wrote that stuff. So that's up to
Mm-hmm.
you, you know. So I hope that
Mm-hmm.
helps a little bit.
Yes, I definitely think it does, especially because you mentioned the fact about proofreading it. Even when I used it and I played around with it, I read it. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. Now, what words would I take out, and how can I still infuse my own thoughts? You know, especially because we're thought leaders in our
Mm-hmm.
industries. Like, how can I put my own perspective, my own thoughts, but still utilizing, like you said, taking that YouTube transcript is a very smart way to make sure that it's already things that you would naturally be saying and how you
Right.
say them.
Yeah.
I know some ways for anybody that has like maybe like more of a product based business, not so much like coaching or service based. I use it in my boutique, and we did a Valentine's Day experience, and
Mm-hmm.
I use it to come up with a list of questions for one of the trivia games. I did 10 relationship building questions for couples and for best friends. I used ChatGPT to help me find that information. I may have
Mm-hmm.
went in and changed a couple of things, like I would really rather ask this question, or this one's kind of whack, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very beneficial. So I love that you teach this in your community. I think it's super, super important for people to be able to understand how to use it and still be authentic. Because we are burnt out as entrepreneurs. I know I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm
Yeah.
running like 500 businesses, and then
Yeah.
my husband comes along to me, he got three more ideas. Listen, listen, Linda,
Yeah.
I can't do it all. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
so especially when you're still a solopreneur, which majority of the listeners are going to be, they're brand new to business or just maybe in their first 5 years, like, you're doing all the things.
Yeah.
And so it should be available to you to have systems and things that just make it easier to create all these different pieces of content. So
Yeah.
I like ChatGPT. I
Yeah.
just don't want people to lose their
Right. Don't
authenticity, and
lose
I
your
think you
authentic.
explained it in a beautiful way.
Yeah, I think the key is not to come to it as a coach with a blank canvas. Come to it as you would your assistant. You're not going to go to your assistant and hand her a paintbrush and say, "Hey, create for me. I want to do a course. I'm not sure what I want to do it on. Like, what would be good for entrepreneurs?" You're not going to do that, because
Right.
she's going to create something that isn't from you. It didn't come from your inside.
Mhm.
You're going to come to Chat GPT and say, "Hey, good day. I want to create, I want to create this course for heart-centered entrepreneurs, and I want to talk about how, they can structure their business in a way that they wouldn't experience burnouts. And my beliefs are A, B, C, and D. And this is the goal of the course. Can you help me to write a sales page for this? So you don't come with a blank canvas. You come to let it know what the objective is and what my thoughts and feelings are. And then it can write for you. Do you see what I'm saying? And then when it comes back and it's still not where you want it, you have that conversation, you have that dialogue with it as you would a person working for you. So when you do that, you can walk away with like some real good content because you work. It's like a partnership. It's not like Chat GPT is figuring out all this stuff on its own. So if you use it more like that, you can get more out of it without losing your authentic voice.
Yes, absolutely. I even used it to come up with the podcast title for this
Yeah,
episode. I
yeah,
took two suggestions and kind of blended them to make sense in a way that I liked it, but
Mhm.
it is really helpful, you know. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're going to Chat GPT and you're struggling, like, well, I don't know what to say, or I haven't quite figured out, you know, my own voice, then I think take time to develop that. You can join like my community, you can join Coach Dallas community. We'll coach you through the process of tapping more into your own authentic voice and showing up in a way that makes sense for your audience and yourself. But don't go to it, like she said, like just a blank canvas and you
yeah,
don't have any thoughts or ideas of how you want to sound, what you want to talk about. You can use it to brainstorm new ideas. I think it's really great for that. But if you haven't stepped into a space of even knowing really like who you want to show up as in business and the tone and the personality of your brand, work on that first because then
yeah.
Chat GPT can just help you take it up an extra notch by helping you brainstorm and get all this creative work done. So that is good,
Absolutely.
honey. And that is a whole episode. I'm going to have to talk more on this because
Yeah.
I love it. I love brand messaging. I love brand clarity. I love being
Mhm.
authentic in your business. And then how can you now utilize all of these things to just support you in all of this creation? So take what y'all can. I hope y'all taking notes because this is good. Okay,
Yeah.
now let's get nitty gritty. We got a few more questions. I hope everybody's still listening. Everybody's still sticking with us. But what do you feel holds women back from being their truest selves? I know for me, just fear of judgment, fear of
Yeah.
what people are gonna say. I talked on an episode with Octavia, and I talked about how when I started using my cards online, it was like the scariest thing. Oh my God, people are gonna think I'm like a demon or something. How
Yeah.
she using, she talking about God and Jesus, you know, that whole
Mhm.
um, stereotype that and things that people throw on you. But I know for me, it was like a fear of judgment, a little bit of insecurity, not feeling good enough, pretty enough, competent enough. But what do you feel personally from your experience? What do you feel holds women back from being their most authentic selves?
I think you hit it on the head perfectly. Like it's fear. You know, it's fear of other people not understanding you, not judging you. It's fear of rejection, you know, people not like wanting to receive. I mean, like I said before, I mean, just to be like transparent and lay it all on the table, like me switching and pivoting my business, I thought it would just be like, oh, here I am. I'm fully me. Like, my business is going to be so amazing now. And I thought that it would be so easy, but it really has not been. It has not been like an easy journey because, you know, you always have that positive side of yourself, but then you have that side of yourself, which is that other voice talks to you all the time as well. It says, oh, wow, look at you. Like, you thought you were going to show up yourself and you thought people were going to want to buy from you as much as they used to. Like, you thought, you know, people probably don't even know what you're talking about. Like, the stuff, like some of the stuff I share and like my philosophies and my beliefs about certain things, like that fear is always there that people are going to be like, what is she even talking about? Or not understand me. And I'm going to be honest, like, when I first came out with my program, my new program, there were people inbox me like, what does that mean? You know, they weren't my people, but they were asking. They were like, what does that mean? And I was taking time to explain it. Um, so yeah, the fear that if I be myself, if I take these stones out or these cards, people are going to think like I'm not holy enough. Like I've had people on my channel. I've had a very interesting spiritual journey because I grew up as a pastor's kid. So, you
I
know,
didn't know that. That's so interesting.
yeah, we're real heavy. Like, you know, we grew up as pastor's children. So, like, my parents had a ministry for like 22 years or more, 25 years or something like that. So, I always had my own ideas. And So I'm very strong rooted in my faith, and I'm very strong rooted in God because it's how I grew up. And it's no point in resisting all of how you grew up. It's there, it's in you. Like some stuff needs to be resisted, but some stuff is in you. It's what you believe, it's what activates your faith. It's no need to throw it all away sometimes. You know what I mean? But I
Mm-hmm.
also have my own beliefs and, things that I've disassociated myself simply because I felt like it's not the love of God. So anything that's
Mm-hmm.
not God's love is not something I want to be aligned with. And so I don't consider myself religious. I just consider myself spiritual. I consider myself a person who loves God and loves people. And that's my religion, And so because I'm in between like that, that was a fear of mine of like, what do I identify with this? How do I identify with this? How do I tell people who I am? What do I tell them I am? I'm not claiming any titles. I'm just me. How do I explain who I am? How do I explain? Because even with the human design, like it's based off of I Ching and a whole lot of other stuff. And some people like don't believe in that stuff. So it's like, oh, you believe in God and you also are doing this. Like I don't want to receive that. So I think you're
Mm-hmm.
afraid because of for me that strong church background was very judgy, and so in the back of my mind, I'm expecting people to judge me, and I don't really even have like a bucket now that I can put myself in. I'm just kind of me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm open, like I'm not a demonic person. Like I don't believe in witchcraft,
Right.
but certain
Mm-hmm.
things I don't have a problem with really. And so that other people
Mm-hmm.
might judge. So I think it's that fear of how are people going to accept me? How are people going to label me? Am I going to be able to even find my people, specifically in the Black community, with what my beliefs are? Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Am I worthy enough for like people to even buy my stuff? Like, is this even anything that should be sold? These are all the thoughts
Mm-hmm.
that, you get. But I feel like all those thoughts mean you're on the right path,
Mm-hmm.
because
I
you've
love
been
that.
called to be a rebel. You've been called to shake things up. You've been called to revolutionize things because that's what we need. And Coach Stephanie, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be very hard for us to stand out from like Chat GP and all this other stuff because people are so flat. Everybody's doing the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when you
Right.
say everybody's going right, I'm going to take the narrow path. I'm going to take the
Mm-hmm.
crooked path because this is what I feel called to do. That's because you're called to shake things up and not be like everybody
Mm-hmm.
else. So that's always going to be like
Absolutely.
feel scary.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And that's so true. Oh my God, you touched on so much. Lord knows I wish I could hit the rewind button because there's so much I want to piggyback off of. And my mind is just going because you dropped so much. But all of that is absolutely true. And even like you said, feeling like you have to be in this box to be accepted. I want to be all the different crazy parts of me. And whatever it looks like for me, that's what I am.
Hmm.
Sometimes we feel so alone in that journey, and it makes us afraid to say, well, I am like this, because you feel like you're the only one. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, what you say online resonates with me. I will say that. And so
Yes.
I'm like, it's so good to see someone that has similar thoughts, and everything
Hmm.
ain't got to be the same, but like it's a similarity there that makes me feel not alone. And I
Hmm.
think that's why it's so important. I know Octavia had talked about finding support through your journey. We talked a lot about how to navigate your spiritual journey in life and biz, but like finding your tribe, finding your
Yes.
people, and even if they aren't exactly like you, which they shouldn't be, because now you have no room to grow if
Hmm.
everything's the same. But that can have that acceptance for you and for your beliefs and for the different ways that you want to show up, and be okay with it. And like
Yep.
you said, when you mentioned human design, oh my God, I'm still like, I ain't even gonna flex. I ain't reach a point where I'm like bursting through the scenes ready to talk about it, but yet I've been studying it since like 2020 and implementing bits and pieces to
Oh,
really
it's
show
long. Yeah.
up as itself. Human design is amazing. So
Yes.
I'm gonna need you to like 2 more episodes
Yes.
so
I
we
would
can
love
talk
it.
about human design and
Yeah.
maybe introduce it to people. And one aspect that I learned about myself is my open head center. So I have this ability to hear so many different perspectives and like not attach myself to them. You can be whatever you want to be. The only time you gonna hear something out of my mouth is I feel like you're not showing up as yourself, or you're not really creating the impact and the change or going after your dreams and your ideas, that's the only time you're going to get some feedback from me. Other than that, be who you want to be. Just be good. And like you
Yes.
said, not just being in this box, man. So I hope
Mm.
that this encourages other women to just break out of those paradigms and do and be what you are called to do and be, because that is going to be the best thing for your soul, and it's going to put you in alignment with people that are really for you and not going to stop you from being this amazing self that you want to be. So that was really good. Okay, let me not
Right.
go on a tangent. I know we talked a lot, but I know I've said to personally like what I feel like my challenges are, but what do you feel like may have been the hardest part about showing up authentically in your business specifically? And then what did you do to actually overcome it?
I think that, remember you said something about like don't compare yourself like to other people, like just don't even do it. How about don't compare yourself to the past you? How about that? That's been the hardest part for me, is that I find myself always looking back like I used to be able to do this, and when I show up this this would happen. Like I was so full, and I don't think it's anything wrong with ego. Let's just say this. So I don't think there's anything wrong with any part of yourself. Like it's gonna be there. You have to learn how to love it and exist with it, and make all parts of yourself exist in harmony. So I'm not even knocking how I was, but I was so full of myself, so full of a bunch of nothing. Like it was all about my ego. It was all about who I am. And, you know, if somebody challenged that, it would just knock me back so far because I wouldn't have like a lot of substance. Um, but that old girl, she shows up sometimes. And she's like, you should be selling more than that. Like, come on now. Like, you need to be more aggressive than that. Like, you need to be working harder than that. That's just, I don't know what you're doing resting right now. Cause, you know, and she's always talking. So I feel like that, uh, temptation to compare the new me with the last version of me is one of the biggest struggles that I have. We are always arm wrestling, okay? And you know that's why it's an ongoing process. It doesn't just stop. It's ongoing. I'm at a point now where I and see this is the type of stuff you feel funny sharing, but I used an app to actually. I've been wanting to do it for a really long time. I think I did it before, but not to this degree. I actually use an app on my phone to record my voice affirming myself over and over and over again. That way, I'm speaking out into the environment, atmosphere, universe, who I am. And even when my mouth, my real mouth doesn't feel like moving, my voice, I hear it and it's connecting with the inner me and it's going out. And I'm listening to that all day, throughout the night. I listen to it while I sleep because if you don't rewire your brain and condition yourself, the world will condition you in who you need to be. So yeah, I'm putting in the work. I'm putting in the extra work to condition myself to have the confidence to be able to follow through with what I'm doing, even it looks seriously different from what I used to do. The results. I couldn't do this, Coach Stephanie. Like if I didn't have a thriving, if I didn't have other companies that are seriously thriving, I couldn't even play around with this. I couldn't play. I couldn't explore this. It's like God gave me just what I said. God, I don't want to have to rely on my coaching business because I really want to go after my heart with it. I want to have my income taken care of. And boom, the answer was there. And so now I'm free to be able to explore it. It looks nothing like it used to. So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest struggles I have.
I think that's good, and I think it's important for people to just understand what that looks like on the other end because it is so glamorized, you know. And I want us to be as truthful as possible. Like, man, being who you want to be is not going to be easy, but it's
Yeah.
so doable. And the
Mm-hmm.
things that you do for yourself, and I don't think it's weird at all. I know maybe a little uncomfortable, but it's important that people share like their process, their steps, like that. I didn't even know that was a thing, and like that's a thing that I need to do to
Oh,
record myself and like hear it back, play it back, like especially on those dark, dark, dark
yeah.
days where I'm like really struggling and I'm
Mm-hmm.
really not feeling good about myself. Just to
Mm-hmm.
hear my own voice reaffirming it, I
Yeah.
mean, I know that got to be powerful.
Yeah, it's
you
way
know. So,
better than hearing somebody else's affirmation track. I
hmm
mean, because it's your voice.
right.
It's deep calling to deep. It's you speaking to you. So the way that your
hmm
spirit aligns, the way that your mind aligns, the way that your visualization aligns is next level.
hmm I love that so much, and it's so important. We have to every single day because the mind is a battlefield. I don't care what nobody tell you. Everybody
Yeah.
ain't happy every single day. Okay, I woke up 2 days in a row just last week. Like I'm over it. I'm quitting. I don't care
Yeah.
anymore. You got to
Mhm.
constantly put in the mental work to show up for yourself so you
Mhm.
can embrace being your authentic self and knowing that it may look different from everybody else. You know, your process is your process. How you build your business is how you build your business. And I know you're grateful for those past experiences, even though you may be going back and forth like, well, this is who I used to be and why isn't it coming so easy for me now in this season? Understanding that and not allowing it to hold you back is
Yeah.
so good and so important, you know. And everybody process is going to be different for how they need to show up. You created. If you look at who you used to be, you still were able to set something
Yeah.
in like a foundation for something that now supports you to be
Mhm.
your authentic self. And even though you may not like 100% how you showed up, that got you here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Mhm.
appreciating even those parts of yourself, like it wasn't the truest me, but you know what? I learned a lot. I set some things in order for myself, and now I'm able to embrace this season a little bit easier than it may come for some people that don't have anything else, no other streams of income, nothing else that they got going on. You
Yeah.
know, so I like that. I like that, and just integrating all those different parts of yourself. Like the ego is not bad; it's here to teach you something. It's here
Yeah.
to show you where you need to level up in your
Mhm.
thinking or your beliefs or your actions and your behaviors. So integrate it. Like I
Yeah.
don't hate those parts of myself. When that part of myself shows up and says you're not good enough, I'm like, oh, okay, thank
Oh,
you,
you.
sis.
That's how
We're
you
gonna
still
work on
talking? Okay, we're gonna deal with you.
we work on that, honey. Thank you for letting me know that it's still there. You
Mhm.
know, so I just embrace it. I embrace it, 110%. So, what advice would you give? And first of all, you didn't gave so much, honey. Let me just say, if you added anything on top of it, I would probably just have to pass out because it was just that good. But what piece of advice before you tell us about your community? Because I definitely want the listeners to hear about that. I think it's amazing. I was telling my husband the other day. I was going through the sales page. I said, "Boy, I don't know why. I just think I want to join. Like, I just want to join just to be in your energy
Yes, so
and
I
just to
love
get
it.
the tools and the stuff that you're talking
Yeah,
about. Because I think you're phenomenal. And like I said, we are aligned a lot in our thought
we
process.
are.
And I'm
Mhm.
very, very choosy in this season. Before,
Mm.
girl, I'll drop $1,000 on a course like it ain't quick just because they sold me a dream, you know. But
Mhm.
now I'm feeling more into, okay, is this person even teaching things in a way that's really aligned for me and my authentic self? And do they have the tools and the resources? Like I'm really actually making more logical decisions. I'm
Mhm.
reading, okay, this is what I'm getting for this. And it's
Yeah.
not even about the money because I could care less. If it's worth it, it's worth it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like is this going to help me still be my authentic self in business, or is this going to pull me away
It'll be a
and teach me
distraction.
maybe their way of doing things, but maybe it's not aligned for me? So I think your community is just phenomenal. And I definitely want to talk more about that. But before we get to that, what piece of advice would you give to another woman about embracing their authentic selves and just continuing to walk in a direction and overcome their fears?
I probably the last piece of advice I would probably give is I feel like a lot of the people I've been talking to lately, I feel like a lot of us have felt the same way. The energy's been a little rough lately. It's been a
Mhm.
little rough collectively, I feel like, where we just come out of a really draining period of COVID, of recession. Like we're still saying it's a recession, which people are affected by, and I'm not trying to minimize that. So it's a lot going on, right? And there's a lot going on in our world in general that has just been draining for us, all of us collectively. Um,
Mhm.
You may be in a space right now in your life and business where you've been called to rest. You haven't been called to figure anything out. You haven't been called to overthink anything. You haven't been called to get back to your business right now. You may be in a take a break season. You may be a stay at home mom and you want to start that business, but all you're doing right now is just like caring for your children or supporting your husband as he does business. Or what I'm trying to say is that realize that your purpose is living. Your purpose is living. At the end of the day, it's the life that you, the air that you breathe in, and how you love others and how you learn. We're here to learn. Like, we're here to love. We're here to live. You know, you hear those little sayings that goes on all the pictures: live, laugh, love, however it works. Literally, that's our purpose. You love
Mhm.
other people, you live simply, you be grateful for every breath you can take, and you just learn that that's enough sometimes. That
Mhm.
sometimes it's not about the sales page, the fancy sales page you just finished, and the great speech you just gave, or the accolades, or the successes, or the rewards. Like, even if you're just home just rocking your baby, like, you are enough. You are in your purpose. You don't have to be doing any more than that at the moment. So lean in and listen to yourself. If you're being called to take a break or you're being called to rest, lean in and listen. You're charging up for another time, more that you have to do later. You know, Coach Stephanie, you said you had to take kind of like time off from your business, and I did too. I had to take time off. I had to take like a year off from coaching. I wouldn't touch anybody. People would come and be like, "Oh, you still do one-on-ones?" Bad as I wanted to take the money, I'm like, no, shop is closed at the moment,
Mhm.
because I was being called to just realize that my worth is not associated with all the stuff I'm accomplishing, that it's just enough to be me.
Mhm.
It's just enough to be me. And I'm the same way, Coach Stephanie. I pretty much read energy. The first time you
Mhm.
came to me about speaking at your conference, it was immediate connection. I just, yes, right away. And I never do that. Normally it's like, oh, do I
Mhm.
really want to do this? Let me think on this. Let me pray on this. Probably not. You know, I don't
Mhm.
collaborate. You don't see me collaborating with a lot of people, anything, because I'm
Mhm.
very sensitive about who's in my circle. I have very few people in my circle. But one of the most comforting things that one of my friends said to me was, if you don't have time to call me back, or you're in a dark season and you can't, because I'm normally the friend that uplifts most of my friends. I'm the only person you go to for sound
Mhm.
advice things. She's like, even if you're not in the mood for sound advice, I still love you. Like, you don't have to perform
Mhm.
for me to love you. And I feel like that's what God is saying. Like, sit down, girl, relax. You don't,
Yes.
girl, sit down. You don't have to perform every second for me to love you. And the people in
Mhm.
your life who really love you and who really see you, you don't have to perform for them all the time either. I find myself in my new business saying to my clients, okay, I'm going to take some personal days, like some mental days for myself this week. I won't be really in the group much. And they're like, oh,
Mhm.
please go. I would never do that before. 7 days a
Mhm.
week I was there all the time. You know, Sometimes I take time off from posting content. Like, let somebody else shine for a while. It's not a big deal. You'll be back. Sometimes you can't shine. Like, the sun and the stars and what is it, the moon? They don't shine all the time. They give the other one a chance sometimes. Like, you don't always have to be
Mhm.
on, but you're still loved. You're still more than enough. You're still the chosen one and all this other stuff. Like, you're still
Mhm.
amazing just doing you, which can
Mhm.
sometimes be nothing. And that gets to be
Mhm.
okay.
Honey, that was a word for me. I don't know if the listeners caught it, but I needed it. Okay, you are enough. Ooh, okay, we're going to edit that out. Come on, phone. You are enough. Oh my God. And I think too, because I'm dealing with some, like you said, childhood trauma. My stepmom was verbally and physically abusive to me, called me
Hmm.
stupid, called me fat, called me all kinds of mean and nasty things as a
Mm,
little girl. And those things took, I mean, I'm still battling some of them thoughts,
yeah.
okay? I
Hmm.
just got over not feeling pretty. I finally looked in the mirror and was like, wait a minute, I like what I see. Hold up. It was good to make that shift, but just
Hmm.
knowing that you are enough. And even as you're moving into opening up to really being your truest self, your most authentic self, you are enough just as you are, and that you don't have to have all the accolades or all the recognition, and your business don't got to be making $1 million. You're making impact. Me and my husband talked about this just the other day
Mm-hmm.
because he's building his social media. And so his page is real dry, y'all. It's real dry. He keeps snatching down his two little posts because he don't like it. But somebody said something to him, another coach, and it set me on fire. And I don't know if it's because she said it to him or because what she said I felt like was dead wrong. But she was like, "Oh, you're not trying hard enough. I can't accept you into my thing." And I think it's okay as coaches to recognize that when someone's not aligned for us, like I primarily help brand new entrepreneurs, right? But if I was a coach that takes people from 6 figures to 7 figures, of course you would have to have a certain foundation established to work with me. I get that. But to say that someone's not trying hard enough,
Mm.
or not doing the proper things or not creating impact just based off what you see on social media, every day that that boutique is open and the days that he's there, he's pouring into people. He's speaking into people. He's feeding them the word. He's feeding them all kinds of amazing things that help them elevate and help them overcome the things that they're dealing with. So people are looking at this two posting or no post, and they're assuming when that's not the case. And I want to help people break free of that. Don't give a damn about what nobody else
Mm.
got to say about you. Know what you're doing in real life. You loving on your kids. You're being a great mom. You loving on your partner. You finding a way to take care of yourself even when it's hard. You talking to your best friend about the things that she's going. You are helping people every single day. You
Yes.
are showing up and showing love every single day. And in the eyes of God, that is enough. Whether your hair is done, whether your makeup is done, whether your nails is done, whether you got $1 million in the bank, whether you got the new Ferrari, none of that shit matters.
But
You are enough. And that was such a word, and I felt that so deep in my spirit because I've struggled with it for so long. And even now, I'm still stepping into a space of like, okay, I'm enough for this program. I'm enough to be the coach that I want to be, and I don't have to like, because I went through that too. Like you talked about your e-commerce days. Like I went through that phase of feeling like I had to show up and just talk about how much money I made. I hid how much money I made for a very long time. One, because a lot of my family follow me. So if y'all listening to this, look, don't come asking me for no dollars,
right.
okay? But on top of that, I was like, well, I made it, but then I lost it, but now I'm making it again. And what are people going to think about my story? And they're going to be like, it felt like such a fraud. And I realized it wasn't because I didn't do it and I don't know how to make money. It's because that's not really what I want to teach primarily.
Mm-hmm.
It's more meaningful to me that people create impact and allow the money to be a byproduct of doing the work, of being obedient to your calling, of finding your purpose and living in your purpose and doing the things that really set your soul on fire. Like that is more passionate for me to talk about than trying to sell someone on something just because someone else said that this is how I should be talking about it. Like that's just crazy to me. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go off on a tangent for too long. Before we get to our little bonus round, which I will tell you about in a second, I do want you to tell everybody about your amazing, amazing community that you've built and how people can work with you.
Sure. So there's only one way to work with me now, which is also people say it's crazy, right? And it's the Purpose Driven Business Collective. And it's a mixture of spiritual, motivational with the practical, technical stuff. So just like, Coach Stephanie, you lay down strategies some days on content, and I done grabbed a few strategies on you with planning and scheduling and, all the practical stuff. I'm also really aligned and turned on by the aligned soul, aligned content as well. That's exactly the type of community it is. Where it's just an opportunity to talk to me on Voxer, get on Zooms with me, ask me questions. We definitely have lessons in there on human design if you want the basics on that. There are lessons about you, being the authentic you. So basically, I just want people to be able to lay that foundation because the real secret is you have to be okay with you in order to build a lasting business result. I've had many businesses to rise and fall that were, once again, they were fleeting results. They were good at the time, but I had no peace. I had no joy. I had no sleep. I was exhausted. But learning how to love yourself, which involves accepting every part of yourself and just really going with what you really and truly want to do in life. I mean, my God, we have this life on this earth this time around, and eventually we won't be here on this earth. We'll go on to whatever next assignment. Do what you want. Like, get it done. Like, go after it. Like, if you want to run a business that other people are telling you can't, like, go do it. So I think that it's that sort of environment where people have been told they couldn't do certain things. People were told, like one of the clients in there was told she had to cold DM every day to people she didn't know. Every time somebody comments on your social media post, go straight to their inbox and sell them your program. She was like, she just ended up like quitting the whole business because she felt so outside of herself trying to make it happen. What I'm not saying is that it's 100% easy all the time. I'm saying it can be easy. And there are aspects of my business that are easy now, but some things aren't, so I'm not saying I'm not going to lie and say it's 100% easy all the time. What I'm saying though is that you can run a business according to the way you've been created, the way you've been made up, also honoring yourself, have fun in the process, feel so fulfilled while doing it, while also getting some really good strategies and being able to lean in and see which strategy you should use. Because like they ask me all the time, like, oh, is it a specific way I should send this email? No, which one feels better to you? Which decision feels more expansive to you? So it's coaching, but I am always leading you back to you. That's basically what it is. So that sounds like your jam. Come on in. I would love to work with you. That's pretty much what it's about.
Yes. I think that's phenomenal. I think one of the best things about joining a community like that is it's not being taught in a rigid way. Like
Yeah.
it's not like you have to do it this way, and if you don't do it this way by this time, you're gonna fail. Like it's not taught like that. And
Yeah.
then just for people to get access to you, honey, you poured so much into this podcast. Okay, when you did Faith Activated with me, you poured so. I mean, I can just only imagine what I would get if I had like 30 days with you. You know what I'm saying? Like I would just probably be over the top. So people are getting you and all of who God created you to be once they get behind those doors, along with aligned strategies and education and things to really elevate them. So I think it's phenomenal. And I love what you created. I'm excited to see it just grow.
Thank
And I
you.
pray success and all of the good things over you and your business.
Thank
So if
you.
you guys are interested, I'm definitely going to put all of the links in the show notes and the description. Make sure you follow Coach Dallas, okay, because she puts out a lot of really great content. Go to her YouTube page, learn some things, and then join her community if that's a aligned and authentic decision for you,
Yes.
okay? So now we're going to have a little fun. And I call this my Boss Baddie 5 truths in 5 seconds. So
Okay.
I consider a boss baddie to be a woman who is unapologetically building a business that creates major impact, and she feels beautiful and grounded while building her own table while making space to have other women sit with her. So I
Mm.
consider you a boss baddie. I know you've done some phenomenal things that are continuing to just show up and be a lighthouse, and I think that's beautiful. So I want to have a little fun with you. So you have
Okay.
5 seconds to answer each question, okay?
Okay.
So the first question is, what is your current go-to Boss Baddie song?
I just like anything like hip hop. I like Drake.
Okay. Give me
It's
one by
one.
Drake. Just one.
Okay, one is Live It Up, I think. Is it called Live It Up? Don't ask me no song names. I got a playlist.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to look for Drake and we're going to type in Live It Up and we're going to find us a Boss Baddie song. Okay,
Okay.
next question. Are you the two-stepper, the twerker, or the hype-you-up friend?
I can do it all. I think I'm a mix of all three.
I'm here for it. I love it. Okay, a more personal question. What do you do the most right now to maintain your peace?
Quiet, just prayer, meditation. That helps me a lot. Just taking time out to be quiet.
Mm, that's good, and it's needed too. What are
Yeah.
you reading right now that our listeners may be interested in?
I have a human design book and I don't know the name, but that's the one I've been trying to get through. It's really deep. It's really in depth, digs
Mm-hmm.
into human design. I can't remember the name though. But that's what I'm on right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Okay. And what's one thing you would tell another Black woman right now to give her a breakthrough?
It's all about how you see yourself. How other people see yourself doesn't, how other people see you doesn't matter as much as long as you see yourself as a prize.
Hmm. That's good. I'm gonna make that a quote. That's gonna be a quote for the episode. This was so good. I had so much fun. First of all, I got touched, okay, emotionally, because it don't take much to make me cry, but it takes a little something, something. You gave a little something, something today, and as always, you just shine and you just pour so
Oh,
much, and
thank
it's
you.
so greatly appreciated. And I hope to have you here back. If the listeners have any questions whatsoever, jump in Coach Dallas' DMs, jump in my DMs. Any questions that you maybe we did not address for you, or you're struggling with showing up as your authentic self, we would love to hear from you and to support you on that journey. Once again, all of the information that you need is going to be in the description and the show notes down below. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Coach Dallas, for being a part of this episode. And shout out to all the listeners. Make sure you share this episode with someone that you know needs to shine their light and really be their authentic selves. We love you guys so much, and we see you in the next episode.